All right. So I wanted to do something a little different because my son, who's really into YouTube, he's like crazy into like Mr. Beast and all those guys. And he's like, Dad, when you hit 100 subscribers, you should do a live. And I was like, I don't know. But I figured since the Barrie Colts are playing a pretty significant game tonight, how about we do a special live stream? Because I just want to say, I'm pretty surprised with how fast this channel has been growing. When I started this back in August, I figured this channel would probably fade away by Christmas, but lo and behold, we're now 3 weeks away from the playoffs and we're now at 100 subscribers. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed so far. It's been a ton of fun. I see we've got Dylan and Blaker already on. So thanks guys for checking out this live stream. And I know there's been so much drama this season too. We've had the Mississauga Steelheads. They're moving to Brampton, of course. We got the Bounty Gate situation with the Sudbury Wolves. It just seems like so much has been going on, and it's been great to be able to cover it. I know we're not getting as many answers as we like at this point, especially with the Bounty situation, but it sounds like we should hear something soon from the Ontario Hockey League, but you just never know. And especially if the Barrie Colts and the Sudbury Wolves end up meeting in the playoffs, which is still a possibility, I would think the Ontario Hockey League would like to get that drama out of the way. But still, it's been a fun season. And yeah, we're going to do this live stream up until 7 o'clock. The Barrie Colts, they're in Peterborough tonight. I kind of wish I was at the game, but I work at a radio station early mornings, so it's not possible at this moment in time. But you never know with the way this channel is growing. Maybe it'll develop into something. And I am, though, planning to travel once the playoffs get underway. So if the Barrie Colts play the Sudbury Wolves, I can't wait to head up to the Sudbury Community Arena. It's been a few years since I've been up there. So it's been a good run. And let's see where this channel goes next. And I see we've got Sudbury represented already on the channel. It's been really cool just to have the Sudbury fans tuning in. I know it's been a fun drive so far. The Sudbury Wolves, they have been a fun team to follow, although it'd be nice if they could get some defense or maybe some goaltending. I know Vondras has had some issues of late. I know that last game against the Barrie Colts was a little rough, giving up those 3 quick goals, but this Sudbury, they're looking not too shabby this year. I hope they go on a deep run. I used to call Sudbury Wolves games, so I kind of have a bit of a soft spot for Sudbury. But so that's why I kind of think it'd be fun if we got a Barrie Colts versus a Sudbury Wolves matchup in the first round. Favorite moment to call so far this season? That one's a tough one. I almost see last weekend was interesting with the game being postponed. I know I didn't get to call it, but it kind of gave me flashbacks when I was in Sudbury with the line being struck. The Ice Crews, if you haven't heard, the game against the Niagara Ice Dogs was postponed after the Ice Crew person was drilling, because you have to drill to get the pegs in. And it sounds like through the latest report, they're saying it was a faulty peg and the drill somehow went through the peg, through the concrete, and then struck the pipe. Sounds like it's $5,000 worth in damage, is what the city of Barrie is saying. So I think that's been the most unique moment to call so far this season. We're hoping that everything should be good to go come Thursday night. So the Barrie Colts, they're getting set to host Mississauga, and of course that game rescheduled for March 19th. Oshawa needs more recognition. You know what, Daniel? You might be onto something. I did do my power rankings video this week, and I had the Oshawa Generals number 1 in my power rankings. I know the Ontario Hockey League seems to be a little slow on recognizing the Oshawa Generals because that winning streak, they're on a 4-game winning streak. They play the Ottawa 67s tonight. That puck drop is at 7 o'clock. I know Colin McKenzie, he's going to be back in the lineup for the Ottawa 67s. So that game tonight is going to be huge between Ottawa and Oshawa. The Generals, they are a team to look out for. I think it's going to be telling this week when Oshawa, they play Brantford, first place, of course, on the line between those two teams. I think it's going to be, it's going to go down the wire, Bulldogs and Generals, but I almost want to lean towards maybe Oshawa right now. Jacob Oster, he's been outstanding. Callum Ritchie, he scored that overtime goal 7 seconds against the Sioux Greyhounds. So I like the Oshawa Generals, and hopefully they can keep this up because not many teams have been able to beat the London Knights in regulation, just Sault Ste. Marie and Oshawa in this calendar year so far. What about when Travis Hayes went through the penalty box? Yeah, I heard about that situation. Travis Hayes, he's a machine, that guy. Hopefully he's all right on that front, but he's been quite the pickup for the Soo Greyhounds. It's been kind of nice having the Hayes brothers playing together in Sault Ste. Marie. That's another team I don't think gets enough recognition for what they've been doing. That Soo Greyhounds team still chasing the Saginaw Spirit. At this point, I think they're 7 points back of the Spirit, because that West Division battle is something else. Because, yeah, the Greyhounds, 82 points, Saginaw 89, but the Saginaw Spirit right now 1 point back of the London Knights. So even though London had that amazing run with the point streak, the Saginaw Spirit 1 point back. So Saginaw still in a spot where they could potentially catch the London Knights for first spot in the Western Conference. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. But still a ton of fun, and we'll see what happens next on that front. So as I mentioned, the Barrie Colts, they are in Peterborough tonight. And I was looking at the roster sheet. Sam Hillebrand, he's getting the start tonight for the Barrie Colts in goal. I'm kind of surprised by it. I almost wondered if Ben West would get the start tonight in Peterborough. But it's going to be Sam Hillebrand, Michael Durbridge, Zach Weigel, Bo Jelsma. They're going to be the starting lineup. And then Jack Browdy and Thomas Stewart, you're going to be your defensive pair. And since you're all here on the live stream, I guess I'll let you in on a bit of a update. We're going to actually have Jack Browdy on as our next Barrie Colts interview. Jack Browdy, of course, he's been having a sensational rookie season with the Barrie Colts. He's been developing quite well with this Barrie Colts organization, and it's right now a pretty young defensive lineup, and Jack Browdy doing a great job. So we're going to have Browdy on. Expect that video tomorrow, because typically what I've been doing is I've been interviewing Colt players or Colt management or whoever on the Tuesday, and then I'll play that interview either Tuesday night or Wednesday afternoon. So we're going to do the interview tomorrow because, of course, the Barrie Colts, they're in Peterborough tonight. So expect to have that interview tomorrow. Jack and Thomas have been the best defensive pairing for the Colts. Yep, I have to agree on that one. They've been solid. Actually, the whole pickup with Thomas Stewart coming over from the Oshawa Generals is kind of rejuvenated this Barrie Colts team. Almost the combination of having Bo Jelsma as captain, and then you add the veteran leadership of Thomas Stewart. It seems like a whole new team. Like, nothing against trading away Connor Punnett, because he's got his great skill, probably the best open ice hitter in the Ontario Hockey League, but there's just some sort of dynamic that Thomas Stewart has brought. And Jack Browdy, he's going to be learning quite a bit. So I agree there, Dylan. I think that's probably one of the best defensive pairings right now. So I think for the Barrie Colts, things are looking up. I know they're sitting 8th. They're trying to catch that 7th spot, but I think they're not going to be an easy outcome playoff time. Whoever they play in the first round, I think the Barrie Colts are going to give them a bit of a challenge. I'm not saying it'll be a for sure upset like we saw Kitchener with Windsor last year, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Barrie Colts can cause a bit of frustration for whoever they play. If it's Sudbury, Brantford, Oshawa, it's just going to be fun just to have playoff hockey. Of course, they got to win some games. Tonight's going to be huge. If the Barrie Colts can win in regulation, that'll almost secure their spot in the postseason. So they need to get the 2 points on the road here tonight against the Peterborough Petes, and that would help clinch that playoff spot. So we'll have to wait and see. Who do you think would win between the best West players versus the best East players in a game? You know, it'd be kind of nice if we brought back the OHL All-Star game. I know it's been 15, almost 20 years since we last had an OHL All-Star game. I kind of miss it. I know we started having like the top prospects game when it was the top OHL guys against Team Russia when they were coming over here. Of course, because of COVID, we haven't had that in a while, but it'd be really nice, I think, to have that All-Star game, to see the best of the West versus the best in the East. I think for this season, when you look at just the talent in the Western Conference, they may have a slight edge, especially with what Saginaw was able to do at the OHL trade deadline, loading up. If it was before the OHL trade deadline, maybe give the East a little bit of the advantage. But I think because of the trade deadline, I think you kind of have to give the advantage to the West on that one. With all the talk about the expansion to the Saddleland, what improvements would you like to see? New gondola to call games from? I would love a new gondola. The press box situation in Barrie is the most unique. It's, I think, the only arena in the Ontario Hockey League where you get fans walking behind you while you're calling games. It doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes the fans will come up the aisle and they've realized they're in the wrong section. But so instead of going down and around the concession, they'll walk behind Gene and I as we're doing the game and the camera crew. So it would be nice to have maybe a proper press box for the Barrie Colts whenever it is that they expand the Saddleland Arena. We're still waiting for confirmation as to when that's going to be. Of course, the Colts and the City of Barrie still have to sign that lease extension. So we'll have to wait on that front. But, a gondola would be a good start. Who will come out of the West with London, Sioux, and Saginaw making their pushes? Jeremy, I think that one's a coin flip right now with the way things are. I would almost want to say Saginaw is more likely. That's a team that just seems like they fall behind, but then they find ways to get back. Like Zane Parekh, 30 goals for a defenseman has been unreal. He's only the second defenseman to reach that mark for a draft-eligible defenseman coming out of the Ontario Hockey League. So I almost want to say the Saginaw Spirit, but, man, the second round is going to be something else because the way things are falling right now, London, Saginaw, Sioux, and Kitchener should advance into the second round, but it's going to be a dog fight there. You've got London, Kitchener. They'd probably face off in the second round. And then Saginaw, Sioux, they've done really good against Saginaw, so there's that potential upset, but I'm almost leaning towards Saginaw and their depth. Although after seeing Jacob Frasca play with the Barrie Colts, it'd be nice to see him have a great run, go to the final with the Sioux Greyhounds. But I don't know. It's going to be a fun playoff to watch in that Western Conference. Kind of reminds me what we saw last year in the East with just the talent that we had going into that second round. Rory McGoldhorn, go Dogs, even though we are not in the playoffs. Rory, I think for the Niagara Ice Dogs, their time will come. It's just the whole situation with the Niagara Ice Dogs it's unfortunate because the fan base in St. Catharines, top notch. I went to college down in Niagara and Welland. I was there that first year when the Ice Dogs joined the OHL from Mississauga. And the fan base there has been so passionate. They come out no matter what. I know they've had a couple of great runs going to the championship where they lost both times to the London Knights. So right now, seeing Niagara go through these struggles, it's hard, but they've got a lot of potential. Kevin He, so much fun to watch. He should be probably a second-round draft pick would be my guess in the draft this June. And then you've got Ryan Robrick, who's now setting records for the Niagara Ice Dogs. So this is a team that will be more competitive next year, Rory. But it's unfortunate just to see where Niagara is right now. But they do need that stability. Maybe don't do 20 trades in a season would be a great start for the Niagara Ice Dogs. But I do see that I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to be one of the teams that bid for the Memorial Cup in 2027. That'd be my guess. Niagara and Kitchener, I think, are the two teams right now that sound like they're going to bid for the Memorial Cup in 2027. Can we just appreciate Cowan's point streak? Easton Cowan, he has been so much fun for the London Knights. I believe it's 29 games now that he's recorded a point, 83 points in 42 games. It's just been unreal. So it just goes to show that the London Knights, that's why I say, I think maybe Saginaw will come out of the West, but you do have to Easton Cowan and company. Then you got Denver Barkey, Casper Haltonen. He's been great on that Knights team as well. And Michael Simpson, he's got that OHL championship experience. So that's a very strong London Knights team. And yeah, we can't forget Easton Cowan. How much longer until you think the Ice Dogs will be good? I think next year the Ice Dogs should make the playoffs. They should. I think Boudreau behind the bench, he's trying to get this team going in the right direction. I think next year might be that year we see them maybe finish 7th or 8th and then maybe make that push. So give it 2 more years. You've got Kevin He for a few more seasons. Robrick's going to be great. They're going to draft in the top 4. They're going to be in that draft lottery. So give Niagara maybe a couple more years. It's kind of like what we're seeing with Erie Otters. Erie, they haven't been in the playoffs since 2017, and right now they sit 5th in the West. So they finally figured out a way to pick things up. So I would see Niagara as following a similar path to what Erie is on right now. How many OHL teams have I been associated with? I am right now on my 4th team. I did my first year at a college radio show with buddies of mine, and we covered the Niagara Ice Dogs, their inaugural year. And then I did 2 years with the Kitchener Rangers, and then 4.5 years with Sudbury. And now I think I'm on my 7th or 8th season with the Barrie Colts. So 4 teams. So I kind of get a little bit of a different perspective with each team. And it's, I don't know, I'm a big fan of junior hockey. I've always been a fan of junior hockey. So I just love covering the game. It's fun to be able to do the play-by-play for the Barrie Colts. And then getting this extension right now with the YouTube channel has been quite the story. It's been a lot of fun. So hopefully this channel will keep going. I know we're at 100 subscribers right now. And if we continue to grow, and maybe we'll start broadcasting games off this channel. I know the Barrie Colts, they don't have a road broadcast, so maybe this is a way we can start doing road broadcasts. We'll have to wait and see. Congrats on all the success of the channel. Can't wait to see what you do next season. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. And yeah, it's I didn't think we were going to make it this far with the channel, so it's been really encouraging just to see where we're at, and it's going to be I think it's going to be a fun playoff ride. Right now I'm looking at the playoffs. I'm going to do playoff previews once we know the series that are going to be taking place. So we'll have some breakdowns. We'll continue to follow the news around the league. We're going to keep interviewing Barrie Colt players up until the playoffs, and we'll keep talking with other broadcasters. We're going to talk to a North Bay Battalion broadcaster coming up later this week. So the Battalion, they're in town Saturday. They're celebrating their 10th anniversary in North Bay. So just a sneak peek on that front. We're going to have Sanjay come on, and he'll talk about his story with the North Bay Battalion. That's coming up later this week. Love the coverage of the CHL. Go Colts. Oh, thank you, Sierra. And well, I'm just glad there's other people who enjoy junior hockey as well. It's a great league, a great development league. And if we can, raise awareness, I guess you can say, and just bring attention to what the great talent is in the OHL, I think this is a great way of doing it. And it's been a lot of fun. True, but sad that we lost the first round pick. Yeah, that's for Niagara. That's the tough part, is trying to get overcoming these missteps the organization's had these last couple of years. And what Rory's talking about is last season, the Niagara Ice Dogs, 2 players being banned for bullying or hazing or whatever you want to call it. And then, of course, De Dobler, the owner / GM, he's been suspended 2 years, and they lost the draft pick. So, yeah, Niagara, there's that situation too. They've had a couple of situations of late, which has kind of been setbacks, and they are feeling those effects. But I do think Niagara will start to turn things around. Daniel says, I'm a big Kitchener Rangers fan. What's your opinion on their chances? I honestly don't see them making it past the second round. Daniel, it'd be nice to see Kitchener make that deep run, but you have to consider nobody picked Kitchener to be competitive this year. Everyone, if you look at the predictions at the start of this regular season, a lot of people are saying they might be fighting for a playoff spot, and they came out of the gate running. And Kitchener was the biggest surprise. Carson Rakoff, he has been amazing this year, hitting the 50 goals the other night with an overtime winner over Kingston. I think for the Kitchener Rangers, the second round, I think they could pull off the upset. Why not? This is going to be a team that they're going to be the underdog. And we saw what happened last year when they were the underdog against the Windsor Spitfires. I really do like Mike McKenzie as GM, and then Jussi Ahokas is the coach for the Kitchener Rangers. I think he's been doing a phenomenal job with this team. It'd be nice to see Edward Chalet maybe pick it up a little bit. I know that was one thing that when he was with the Barrie Colts, it was a little frustrating to watch, because he kind of had some issues getting the physical game going. He has the talent. Edward Chalet is sensational. It's just trying to get him to battle in those corners, go to the net, kind of like we saw with Team Czechia at the World Juniors. He was go, go, go. So maybe once the playoffs come around, we'll see a different gear from Edward Chalet, and he can complement Rakoff and Rustevich and Misljevic. I think Kitchener could be a team that maybe could upset either Saginaw or London, but I have a feeling that second round could go 7 games. That'd be my pick right now. How about Riley Patterson this season? Amazing pickup for the Colts. Riley Patterson has been so much fun to follow this year. Of course, he won Rookie of the Year last year in Tier 2 with the North York Rangers. And this year, I wouldn't be surprised if he, wins the Rookie of the Year in the OHL. I don't know if there's ever been a player that's done that before, Tier 2 and then OHL, but Riley Patterson could be in some unique company there. And it was really cool. I did, if you haven't seen the interview, I did an interview with Riley Patterson a couple months ago, and we are talking about his, growing up, and he's a really big lacrosse player, and you can kind of see that in his game. When he's on that forecheck, he's going down in the corners. He likes to battle down low. Him and Cole Beaudoin have amazing chemistry, and then you have Ty York, and he's got that great hockey IQ, and he can find those open spots. And Riley Patterson, he can find them. He can put that puck right on his tape, even when he's behind the net, draped over by 2 players. So Riley Patterson, he's been a great pickup. Of course, he was picked up from the Flint Firebirds in the offseason, and he's been a joy to watch. And we'll see what he can do in this final stretch towards the playoffs. And I think Riley Patterson, Cole Beaudoin, Ty York might be one of the best lines right now, probably in the Eastern Conference, consistently since I would go from the trade deadline, since Marty Williamson put those guys together. Blaker says Dvorsky's been really good since he came. Oh, Dvorsky's been amazing. I think the Sudbury Wolves really got a gift from the St. Louis Blues when the Blues decided to send him down. And I think it's great for the Sudbury Wolves. Adds to that potent offense. You've already got David Goyette, Quentin Musty. This team, the Sudbury Wolves, they should be a team that wins the Eastern Conference based on the talent, Dvorsky included. It'd be a real shame if their defense and maybe their systems and structure kind of lets them down, because they might have one of the best offenses in the OHL. I think they could keep up with a team like Saginaw or London, but it's the defense and the goaltending that's been letting them down. But Dvorsky, he has been fantastic. So right now it is 6:53. So I'm going to keep this going until about 7 o'clock because, of course, we got 2 great games coming up tonight. The Barrie Colts are hosting Peterborough, and then we've got Oshawa and Ottawa. So that's at 7 o'clock. So we'll keep this stream going for a little bit longer. And thanks to everyone who's already contributed. Thanks for the likes. And if you're new, feel free to subscribe. We'll see where this channel continues to grow. We're doing this live stream because we hit 100 today. So thought I'd do something a little different, just kind of like a little bit of a preview before we get to the puck drop between the Colts and the Petes. Top 3 favorite places in the OHL to travel. Oh, that's a hard one because every community has something that stands out. And I think one of my favorites for arenas is the Odd in Kitchener. It's like going to Maple Leaf Gardens. I love going there. Even when you're in the concession, getting the smells of the beer nuts, it just brings back the old memories. Like I can think back when I was a kid, going to the Odd to see Kitchener Ranger games, and my parents would take me, and that was the first thing you'd smell. Once you get past giving your ticket, you got the smell of the beer nuts and just the Odd. Probably top favorite place to visit in the OHL. Another spot which is really good is I used to really enjoy doing the Belleville trip. There's just something about the Belleville Bulls when they were in the OHL. They had the Olympic-sized ice. They had the best uniforms in the Ontario Hockey League at the time. And they also had the best popcorn. If you're a big fan of popcorn, I'm not the biggest fan of popcorn, but for some reason, when we had popcorn in Belleville, I think that topped the list. And another spot I really enjoy is Peterborough. They have a restaurant. It actually just closed recently. I can't think of the name of it. But anyways, they have over 100 different types of poutine located not far from the Peterborough Memorial Center. So we would go there sometimes as like a pregame meal before seeing a game at the Petes. So Peterborough is one of my favorites as well. Plus they have the square corners. I really like how some of these older rinks bring character. Like you've got the square corners in Peterborough. You used to have the Olympic size ice in Belleville. You go to Sudbury, they've got the wooden roof. And then, of course, the wolf that goes across when the Wolves score. That's always a nice touch. And then just that charm of Kitchener. I just love the auditorium. And then, of course, when you go to the Budweiser Gardens in London, it's like going to a mini NHL game. Just the show that they're able to put on. And, of course, the nights are usually competitive. And that place is a sellout almost every time you head down to the Odd. Do you see the OHL expanding? I'm wondering if we're going to see an expansion soon. The one thing I think that's been holding the league back has been the Steelheads. And now that we know that they're moving to Brampton, wait a couple seasons. We'll see how they do in Brampton. And then, of course, with the NHL expanding, they've added Vegas and Seattle over the last 5-7 years. I would think the NHL follows suit. They'll probably add, my guess would be 2 teams. We're still waiting to find out what's going on with Hamilton with the renovations at the First Ontario Center. You've got Cornwall. They've got that arena that could host an OHL team. They would need upgrades. And if you do put a team in Cornwall, that would kind of solve the Eastern Ontario gap since Belleville left. Because really, once you pass Oshawa, it's quite the hike to go to Kingston and Ottawa. I feel kind of bad for Ottawa and Kingston with the road trips because sometimes they make these game trips down to Brantford now, which is quite the hike for the road trips there. So Cornwall, Hamilton, I would probably see them as potential. I know the city of Chatham-Kent, they've talked about building an arena, especially now that Brantford has had some success. Maybe we see a team in Chatham. So those are probably the 3 Ontario communities. I know the league in the past has looked at New York State. So they might look to add another team in the U.S., and that'd probably be in the Buffalo area. There was a time when Niagara Falls, New York was talking about a new arena near their casino. That really hasn't gone far, but I wouldn't be surprised if we look at expansion in a couple of years. No, it's crazy. Yeah, the Steelheads pricing is, but they're trying to get fans however they can, and the marketing team they've got with Mississauga, they have put in so much effort. If you've never been to the Paramount Fine Food Center, there is not a lot out there. And I did that interview with Elliot Kerr, the owner of the Steelheads, and he mentioned that there's nothing to do around the arena. Plus, it's really awkward to get to. You can see the Paramount Fine Food Center from the highway, but it's not easy access. You have to go to the next exit. Then you have to drive on Eglinton to get around, or you can take Dixie Road and you got all the lights. So it's a very tough spot. The Paramount Fine Food Center, and they've done everything they can to get fans there. So now we'll have to wait and see how that carries over to Brampton. I almost feel like the rink in Brampton is a bit of a downgrade from the Paramount Fine Food Center, but still the sightlines are okay. They did add a scoreboard at center ice, so I'm looking forward to that first trip to Brampton when the Barrie Colts make their way down there next year. And hopefully that's going to be earlier in the regular season than later. If there was an expansion, would there be a draft like the NHL taking a player from every team? They would probably do that. I'd have to look up how it worked in 1998. That's the last time they expanded. That's when they added the Mississauga Ice Dogs and the Brampton Battalion. And my understanding was they did take players from the other teams, but it did take Mississauga a long time to make the playoffs and be competitive. If you look at the history books, the Mississauga Ice Dogs in their first few seasons, it was rough. So I think the OHL would probably look at something similar. And I think it makes sense because you don't want these teams to be in an awful spot because these are still kids that are looking to make it in the NHL. You don't want them to be discouraged that they're on a terrible team right off the hop. So I'm sure they'd have rules in place that, they could pick certain overagers, or an overager has to be made available from every team. And then something with the age would be my guess. And Daniel says, have a good night. Love the vids. Well, thank you, Daniel, for your support. And yes, we are coming up to 7 o'clock. The puck drop between the Colts and the Petes is coming up in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to wrap up the live stream here. I just want to say thanks to everyone who subscribed so far. This channel has been a lot of fun, and we'll continue doing the interviews. We'll keep having the news updates. And thanks for coming along for the journey. And maybe we'll do a couple more live streams like this between now and the playoffs or during the playoffs. We'll see how it all works out. So again, thanks for all your support. Thanks for everyone who commented here tonight to have a great conversation. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're new, and we'll talk to you again soon.